The homeless man quietly asked the mechanic for lunch in exchange for work, while customers stared in discomfort. But when someone recognized who he really was, hands began to tremble, and everyone around fell completely silent. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The air in Dave's auto repair was thick and hot, like breathing through a wet blanket. Dave Miller wiped his forehead with the back of his greasy hand. He was tightening a bolt on a minivan's alternator. His helper, Mike Rossi, was talking. Mike was always talking. "I'm just saying, Dave," Mike said, spinning a wrench on his finger. "The game last night was a total robbery. That referee must have been asleep." Dave hummed 3 low notes, a tuneless sound he made when he was focused. "The bolt was loose. Now it's not. That's all that matters here." The bell above the shop door jingled. Both men looked up. A man stood just inside, letting the door swing shut behind him. He moved slowly. His jeans were faded, almost white, and too big. His t-shirt had holes. He had a short, scruffy beard and eyes that looked at the floor. He didn't say anything. He just stood there, as if the walk from the sidewalk had used all his energy. Dave went back to the alternator. "Be with you in a minute." The man didn't move. He watched Dave. Then his eyes moved to the paper wrapper on the workbench. It held the last half of Dave's pastrami sandwich. Dave noticed the look. He straightened up. "Can I help you?" The man's voice was quiet but clear. "If you give me lunch, I'll work." There was a pause. Then Mike let out a snort of laughter. "Good one, man. You had me going for a second." Dave almost smiled. He'd heard every line for a free meal. This was a new one. He shook his head. "Shop's not hiring, sorry." The man didn't blink. He looked right at Dave. "I will work. For the lunch." His seriousness made it funnier. Mike laughed louder now. "Yeah, okay. You'll rebuild a transmission for a pastrami on rye? What's the labor rate on that, Dave?" Dave didn't laugh as hard, but a chuckle escaped. He felt a little bad, but the guy was clearly just a clever talker. "It's a one-of-a-kind offer, but I'm all set." The man, Jake, just stood there. He didn't get angry. He didn't beg. He simply repeated, his quiet voice firm. "I will work for it." His dignity in the face of their laughter made it seem even more ridiculous. Mike howled, slapping his knee. Dave shook his head, grinning, and turned back to the van. An older woman waiting for her tire change looked away, uncomfortable. The bell jingled again, sharp and loud. A woman walked in. She had a purposeful walk. Her brown hair was in a neat ponytail. She was looking at a paper in her hands. "Hi, Dave. Just need an oil change on the Corolla when you have a..." Her words died. Her eyes had passed over Jake. Then they snapped back to him. They went wide. The paper fluttered from her hand. The cup of coffee she was holding dropped and hit the concrete floor with a wet crash. Brown liquid splashed over her shoes. She didn't even look down. She took one step forward, then another. Her face was pale. "Mr. Jenkins?" The shop went completely silent. Mike's laugh cut off. Dave turned around slowly. The woman, Lisa Carter, moved closer to the dirty, tired man. Her voice was a trembling whisper, full of disbelief and something like fear. "Captain Jenkins?" Jake took a step back. He looked like a wild animal caught in a spotlight. Lisa turned to face Dave and Mike. Her eyes were bright with shock. She spoke to the whole room, her voice getting stronger, clearer. "This is Captain William Jenkins. He was my survival instructor at Fort Benning." She looked back at him, her voice breaking. "He saved my life. He saved my whole unit's life during a training accident. The Army, they listed him as missing in action. 2 years ago. He just disappeared." The words hung in the oily air. Dave felt his stomach drop. The laughter in his throat turned to ash. He looked at the man he had called Jake. He saw the straight spine under the worn shirt, the sharp blue eyes now filled with a terrible fear. He saw the man. Mike's mouth was open. He looked from Lisa's sure face to William's shattered one. The wrench slipped from his fingers and clattered on the floor, the sound like a gunshot in the quiet. Captain William Jenkins did not look like a hero who had been found. He looked like a man who had just been cornered. His eyes darted to the door, calculating escape. Lisa saw it too. She moved between him and the exit, not threatening, but firm. "Sir," she said, the old title coming naturally, "you're not running anymore." Dave looked down at the forgotten pastrami sandwich. The laughter echoed in his head. now sounding cruel and stupid. He had looked right at a man and seen nothing but a problem. His father's voice, deep in his memory, seemed to say, "You see a man hungry. You see a man who needs work. You don't just see a man who needs fixing." He had seen wrong. And now, the weight of that mistake settled on his shoulders, heavy as an engine block. The silence in the shop was heavy and hot. The only sound was the drip of coffee from the counter onto the floor. Dave's face felt tight with shame. He looked at the man, Captain Jenkins, and his words came out rough. We didn't know." Mike just stared, his earlier laughter now a sick feeling in his gut. "Missing in action?" he repeated quietly. Lisa kept her eyes on William. "Sir? It's Lisa Carter, Bravo Company, Fort Benning. The ice storm on the survival course. You pulled 6 of us out of that ravine." William's eyes flickered. For a second, the hollow look in them was gone, replaced by a sharp, painful recognition. Then it faded, and he looked down at his worn-out shoes. "That was a long time ago," he mumbled. "It was 2 years ago they said you vanished," Lisa said, her voice gentle but firm. She took a slow step closer. "What happened? Where have you been?" He shook his head, a quick, jerky motion. "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't have said anything." "Why?" Dave asked. The question felt too big for the small shop. William didn't answer. He wrapped his arms around himself like he was holding his body together. Lisa understood first. She pulled her phone from her pocket. "We need to call someone you can trust. Sergeant Major Briggs, he asked about you for months." At the name Briggs, William's head snapped up. "No, don't. He's your friend," Lisa insisted. "You'll put a target on him," William said, his voice low and urgent. "On all of you." Mike found his voice. "A target? From who? You're a hero. The army should be helping you." A bitter, almost silent sound escaped William. It wasn't a laugh. "The army is the past. After I left, I took a job with a private company, Blackridge." He said the name like it was a bad taste. Lisa's face went still. "Blackridge? The security contractors?" William nodded once. "I did things. I saw things. When I couldn't do it anymore, I left. They don't like people leaving." Dave walked around the workbench, wiping his hands on a rag. He stopped a few feet from William, not wanting to scare him. "What did you see?" William's eyes were distant, looking at something far away. Guns, shipments going to places they shouldn't, money changing hands in the dark. He focused on Dave. "I took something, proof, a list of everything, on a small computer drive. So give it to the police," Mike said, stepping forward. "We can go right now." "It's not that simple," William said. "The police. Blackridge has friends, lawyers. They would make it disappear, and they would find me. They have been finding me." He looked at the windows, as if expecting to see someone outside. "That's why I move. That's why I am no one." Lisa was already dialing her phone. "Sergeant Major Briggs doesn't scare easy, and he'll know what to do." She put the phone to her ear. William looked like he wanted to bolt for the door, but he was rooted to the spot, exhausted. The fight was gone. Dave watched him. He thought of his own quick judgment, his laughter. He thought of his father, who never turned anyone away. "You're not leaving," Dave said, echoing Lisa's words but with a different tone. It wasn't an order, it was a statement. "You're staying right here. My shop isn't much, but it's solid. You need lunch?" He gestured to the sandwich. "It's yours. No work required." William stared at him, confused. Kindness seemed to baffle him more than threats. Lisa spoke into her phone. "Sergeant Major, it's Lisa Carter. Sir, I found him. I found Captain Jenkins." She listened for a moment, her eyes wide. "What do you mean, get him to a safe place? We're at Dave's auto repair in Toledo." She listened again, and the color drained from her face. "How did you know that name?" She lowered the phone, her hand trembling slightly. "He says Blackridge is already looking. He's on his way. He'll be here in a few hours." The air, already thick with heat, now felt dangerous. Mike broke the new silence. "So what do we do until he gets here?" William finally moved. He walked to the old plastic chair by the door and sank into it. He put his head in his hands. "You should all go home," he said, his voice muffled. "Forget you saw me." Dave picked up his half-eaten sandwich. He walked over and placed it on the chair next to William. Then he turned to Mike, locked the front door, flipped the sign to closed. We're not going anywhere." The closed sign on the door of Dave's auto repair felt like a lie. The shop was never closed in the middle of a Tuesday. Dave pulled down the blinds on the big front window. The usually familiar space felt like a cage. Mike stood by the workbench, nervously tapping a screwdriver against his palm. "How long did she say until her army friend gets here?" "A few hours," Lisa said. She had pulled up a stool and was sitting near William, not too close, but present. She kept looking at him, as if trying to match the man in the chair with the memory in her head. William had eaten the sandwich. Every bite was slow and deliberate. Now he sat perfectly still, his eyes on the floor near the door. He was listening. "This Sergeant Major," Dave said, leaning against a tire rack. "He's a good guy?" "The best," Lisa said, without hesitation. "He and Captain Jenkins served together for a long time. He never believed the walked-away story. He kept looking." From his chair, William spoke quietly. He should have stopped looking. 3 hours passed. The only sounds were the hum of the refrigerator in the office and the distant traffic. Then, a pair of headlights slowed in front of the shop. A dark SUV parked right outside the closed bay door. A man got out. He was older, with short gray hair and a straight back. He wore plain clothes, but he moved like a soldier. He looked at the building, then walked not to the front door, but to the side employee entrance. A firm knock rattled the metal door. Lisa jumped up. "That's him." Dave walked over and unlocked it. The man stepped inside quickly, his eyes scanning the dark garage, the tools, the cars, Mike, Lisa, and finally, resting on the figure in the plastic chair. "William," the man said. His voice was gravel and warmth. William looked up. "Hello, Tom." Sergeant Major Tom Briggs crossed the room in a few strides. He didn't hug William. He just put a firm hand on his shoulder and squeezed, his jaw tight. "It is good to see your face, brother." Then Briggs turned, and the warmth was gone, replaced by a hard efficiency. "Lisa, thank you for the call. Now we have to move. They are closer than you think." "Who?" Dave asked. "Blackridge operatives," Briggs said. "They have been monitoring military channels, old contacts. They heard a rumor weeks ago that William might be in the Ohio area. Your phone call, Lisa, was clean, but if they are watching me, they could have followed me here." He looked at William. "We need the data drive. Now. It's the only thing that can keep you safe. We can use it to force their hand, get you into protective custody." William shook his head. "I don't have it." The room froze. Briggs's posture stiffened. "What do you mean? You said you took it." "I did," William said. He took a deep breath, as if the words were heavy. "But I knew they would search me. They would tear apart any place I stayed. I couldn't carry it." He looked at Dave, then at the engine of the minivan still on the lift. "I hid it in the one thing they would never think to look inside. A car." "What car?" Lisa asked. "The last job I did," William said. "After I left Blackridge, I worked for a little while at a quick lube place over in Michigan. Just to survive. I had the drive with me. I was scared. A car came in, a Ford Mustang, a 2017 model. While I was doing the oil change, I modified the engine control unit. I opened the sealed case and put the small drive inside. Then I closed it back up. No one would ever see it unless they knew it was there and took the whole computer apart." Mike whistled softly. "So the proof is riding around inside some random car?" William nodded. "I wrote down the license plate, but I lost the paper. I remember the car. Blue. The owner was a woman. She talked about her job. She was a nurse." He put his head in his hands again. "I do not remember the plate number. I was not thinking clearly." Briggs let out a long, slow breath. "So we need to find a single 2017 blue Ford Mustang owned by a nurse in the entire Midwest. Before Blackridge does," William added, his voice hollow. Dave looked around his shop. He looked at the tools on the walls, the loyal customers' cars waiting for service. This was his world. Things you could fix with your hands. Now he was standing in the middle of a spy story. He thought of his laughter, his quick judgment. This was a problem he could not fix with a wrench, but he could try. "Then we find it," Dave said, his voice low and sure. Everyone looked at him. "This is my shop," Dave said. "You came here. That makes it my business. We have computer records here. Mike is good with that stuff. We know cars. We know this town." He looked at William. "You need that drive. We'll help you get it." Mike's face lit up with a fierce energy. "Yeah, we'll find that car." Lisa nodded. I can help organize the search. Logistics is what I do. Briggs looked at this small, unlikely group. 2 mechanics, a logistics manager, and his broken friend. A look of deep worry crossed his face, but also a faint respect. It's dangerous. If they find you, they already found him, Dave said, pointing a thumb at William. He's here, so the danger is already here. We might as well do something about it. William stared at Dave. The confusion was back in his eyes, mixed with a tiny, fragile spark of something else. It looked like hope. Sergeant Major Briggs paced the small office. This is not a good plan. Civilians should not be involved. Dave stood his ground. He walked into my shop. That involved us. He couldn't stop seeing the man's face when they laughed. This was the only way to make that right. My brother is a Marine overseas, Mike said, his voice tight. If he was in trouble, I'd want someone to help him. This is like helping him. Briggs looked at Lisa. Captain? Lisa was writing on a notepad she'd taken from Dave's desk. Sir, they're right. We need local knowledge. We need to move fast and quiet. Dave and Mike know every other shop in Toledo. I can cross-reference vehicle registrations, narrow it down. We have a better chance together. William finally spoke from the corner where he stood. Tom, they have already seen me. They know this place. If we all leave together, Blackridge will notice. If I stay here, hidden, they can look without being followed. They are not the targets. I am. Briggs rubbed his forehead. He looked at William, then at the determined faces of the 3 strangers. He gave one sharp nod. Okay, but I cannot stay. My presence is a beacon for them. I will draw attention away. Go north. Make it seem like I have William with me. You have 72 hours. If you don't find the car by then, you stop. You walk away. Understood? Understood, Lisa said. Dave and Mike nodded. Briggs walked to William. He lowered his voice. You trust these people? William's eyes met Dave's. They gave me a sandwich when they had no reason to. That's more than I've had in 2 years. After Briggs left, the shop felt different. It was no longer just a repair shop. It was a headquarters. Right, Lisa said, tapping her notepad. We need a system. Mike, you take the computer. Search for blue 2017 Ford Mustangs registered in Lucas County, then widen to the whole state of Ohio. Look for any owner listed with medical field credentials. Nurse, doctor, technician. Mike was already sliding into the office chair. On it. Dave, Lisa continued. You call every repair shop, every parts store you know. Ask if they've serviced that specific car. Don't give details. Just say a customer is looking for a mechanic who did a good job on their Mustang last year. Dave picked up the shop phone. It felt more natural than anything had in hours. What can I do? William asked. His voice was quiet. Lisa smiled at him. It was a careful smile. You remember. Close your eyes. Think about that day at the Quick Lube. Was there music playing? Was it sunny? Did the woman say anything else? Any detail can help. William nodded. He sat back in the plastic chair and closed his eyes, his brow furrowed in concentration. The afternoon turned into evening. Mike's fingers flew over the keyboard. Dave's voice grew hoarse from friendly, probing calls. Hey, it's Dave over at Dave's Auto. Strange question. You had a blue Mustang come through maybe a year back? Lisa organized the information, creating lists on her notepad, drawing lines between possibilities. William suddenly opened his eyes. A sticker, he said. Everyone stopped. On the rear bumper, a small white sticker, a plus sign, red. It was faded. A hospital sticker, Mike said. Like from St. Vincent's or Mercy Health. Those are the big ones here. It was the first real break. A wave of energy went through the room. Later, Dave's wife, Barbara, brought over a pot of stew and a loaf of bread. She took one look at the intense faces, at the stranger with the tired eyes, and didn't ask a single question. She just started setting out bowls. You all need to eat to think straight, she said. As they ate around the workbench, something shifted. It wasn't friends laughing, but it was a team sharing a meal. Dave saw William watching them. He saw the man slowly pick up a roll. He was part of the circle. We're going to find this car, Dave said, not to anyone in particular. I know, said Mike, his mouth full. Lisa was looking at William. Sir, we're going to make this right. William looked at his hands. He did not say thank you, but he didn't say they should stop either. He just gave a small, almost invisible nod. Then he reached for a wrench that had been left on the bench. He held it, his fingers testing its weight and balance. It was a familiar, solid thing in a world that had stopped making sense. He placed it neatly back in its spot on the tool wall. The list on Mike's computer screen felt impossibly long. There are over 400 blue Ford Mustangs from that year registered in Ohio alone, he said, his voice tired. Lisa looked over his shoulder. Okay, filter for Lucas County first. Mike clicked a few keys. 72. Now, cross-reference with employment records for the local hospitals, Lisa said. She had a printed directory from St. Vincent's on the desk next to her. We look for matches between car owners and hospital staff. Dave hung up the shop phone. That was Louie over at Westgate Service. He remembers a blue Mustang, a woman driver. But he said she hasn't been in for over a year. He doesn't have a name. It's a start, William said. He was standing by the tool wall, running a cloth over each wrench, placing them in perfect order. The work seemed to calm him. The Quick Lube where I worked was just over the state line in Michigan, but the car had an Ohio plate. She might live here, work there, or the other way. Lisa made a note. So we expand the search to Southeast Michigan too. Across town in a quiet hotel room, a woman studied a map on a tablet. Her name was Diana Cole. Her hair was smooth and blonde. Her clothes were expensive and plain. She did not look like a threat. That was what made her good at her job. A man in a dark suit stood in the doorway. The Army contact, Sergeant Major Briggs, left the city heading north. He was alone in the vehicle. Diana did not look up. He is a distraction. Jenkins is smart. He would not run with someone so obvious. What about the mechanic shop? The one where the siding was called in by the Carter woman. Dave's Auto Repair. It's been closed since yesterday afternoon. The owner, Dave Miller, is inside. So is his assistant, Mike Rossi, and Lisa Carter. The blinds are drawn. A small, cold smile touched Diana's lips. They're not hiding. They're working. Jenkins is there, and he's trying to remember something. He's trying to find what he lost. She tapped the tablet. Put 2 people on the shop. Do not be seen. Watch everyone who comes and goes. If he leads us to the asset, we take it, and we clean up the mess. Back in the shop, Mike let out a frustrated breath. The hospital's employee database isn't public. I can't just match names to car registrations. It's a wall. Dave finished another call. Nobody else remembers the car, Lisa. It's a dead end. The room was quiet. The first burst of energy was fading, replaced by the hard reality of the task. William stopped cleaning tools. He walked to the office door. His voice was hesitant. The sticker. It was not just a plus sign. It had words. Small black letters under the red plus. Everyone looked at him. What did the words say? Lisa asked gently. William closed his eyes tight. It was community, community care, or community health. Something like that. Mike's fingers flew back to the keyboard. Community Health Partners. They have a big clinic on Reynolds Street. It's not a hospital, it's a network of clinics. He started a new search. Okay. Let's see if any employees live in Ohio but work at that Michigan Quick Lube area. Lisa picked up her notepad, a new hope in her eyes. We look for nurses or medical assistants who work at community health clinics and who own a blue 2017 Mustang and who might have gotten an oil change in Michigan about a year ago. That's still a lot of people, Dave said, but he was reaching for the phone book to find the clinic's number. It's fewer than 400, Mike said, a grin spreading on his face. Way fewer. Outside, in a plain gray sedan parked half a block down, a man lowered a pair of binoculars. He spoke into a small microphone on his wrist. Movement inside is consistent. All subjects still present. No sign of Jenkins leaving. They look like they're working at desks, making calls. Diana Cole's voice came through his earpiece, calm and clear. They are searching. Good. Let them search. They will lead us right to it. The list from Community Health Partners was the breakthrough. Mike had 12 names, 12 nurses or medical assistants in the Ohio-Michigan area who drove a blue 2017 Ford Mustang. 12, Mike said, a real smile on his face for the first time in days. We can check 12 people. Lisa was already dividing the list. We'll call them. Say we're from a dealership with a recall notice on a computer part for that model. We need to verify their vehicle identification number. Dave clapped Mike on the shoulder. Good work, kid. William stood by the blinds, peering through a tiny crack at the street. His body was rigid. "We have to go. Now." "What?" "We just got the list," Mike said. "The gray sedan. It was there 4 hours ago. It is still there. No one gets out. No one delivers food." William's voice was low and urgent. "It is a surveillance team. They are not just watching anymore. They are waiting for a reason to move in." As if on cue, a black SUV turned the corner and parked behind the gray sedan. "Go out the back," William said, turning from the window. "Do not run. Walk. To your vehicles. Go different ways. Meet where we discussed." The where we discussed was an old, abandoned packaging factory near the Maumee River. Lisa had suggested it 2 days prior as a worst-case scenario. "What about all this?" Dave asked, gesturing to the computers, the phones, their notes. "Leave it," William said. He was already moving, his movements suddenly sharp and precise. The slumped posture of Jake was gone. This was Captain Jenkins. "They want the information. Let them find it. It will only tell them what we already know. It will not tell them where we are going." They moved quickly. Mike grabbed the printed list of 12 names and shoved it in his pocket. Dave locked the office door out of habit. Lisa swept their coffee cups into the trash. They slipped out the rear delivery entrance one by one. Dave got into his pickup truck. Mike jumped into his old Honda. Lisa got into her sedan. William ducked down in the back seat of Lisa's car. Dave drove east. Mike went west. Lisa went north. From the black SUV, Diana Cole watched the 3 vehicles leave from different exits. She spoke into her phone. "They are splitting up. They know we are here. Follow the woman. Carter. She is the logical one. She will have him." The old factory was a skeleton of rust and broken glass. The river smell was thick in the air. They regrouped inside a vast, empty room that once held machinery. Mike was breathing hard. "Did anyone follow you?" "I don't think so," Lisa said, though she kept looking at the shattered windows. Dave checked his phone. Barbara texted. She said a couple of well-dressed people came to the house asking if I'd seen a homeless man. She said no and shut the door. William stood in the center of the room, his arms wrapped tightly around his chest. He was staring at the heavy, rusted chains hanging from the ceiling. His breathing was quick and shallow. "Hey, William." Dave's voice was calm. "You're with us. You're safe here for a minute." A loud crash echoed through the building as a piece of loose metal siding fell somewhere in the distance. William flinched violently, dropping into a crouch, his eyes wild. For a second, he wasn't in Ohio. He was somewhere else, somewhere terrible. Lisa approached him slowly, like she would a scared animal. "Sir, it was just noise. We're in the factory, by the river. You're with Lisa, Dave, and Mike." Slowly, the wild look faded. Shame replaced it. He stood up, refusing to look at them. "I am sorry." "Don't be," Mike said, his voice softer than usual. "This place is creepy." "We cannot stay here long," William said, getting a hold of himself. "They will check places like this." "So what's the plan?" Dave asked. "We run to another town?" "No," Lisa said firmly. She looked at the list in Mike's hand. "We have 12 names. We have a lead. Running just resets the clock. We have to finish this." "She's right," Mike said. "We're close. My brother, he doesn't get to run from his job overseas. We can't either." Dave looked at William. The man was still pale, but he gave a single firm nod. "Okay," Dave said. "Then we work from here. But we move fast. We find that car today." The factory was quiet, except for the distant sound of Mike's voice. He was on his cell phone in a corner, working through the list of 12 names. "Yes, hello, ma'am. This is Mike from, Great Lakes Auto Service. We're doing a voluntary diagnostic check on some Ford models. Could I just confirm your vehicle identification number?" Lisa watched him, her arms crossed against the chill. Dave kept watch at a window facing the road. William sat on an old wooden crate. He was staring at his hands, which were perfectly still on his knees. "The 6th one," Mike called out. "Sarah Bauer. She verified her VIN. She's a nurse at the community health clinic on Reynolds. She has the blue Mustang. She lives in Toledo." A spark went through the room. "That's it," Lisa whispered. "But she's at work until 7 tonight," Mike added. "Her car would be in the clinic parking lot." Dave nodded. "We wait. We watch the lot. When she leaves, we follow her home. We approach her there." The plan was simple. It gave them hours to wait. The initial rush faded, leaving the cold silence of the factory. Lisa walked over and sat on another crate near William. She didn't look at him. She just sat there, sharing the quiet. "You asked why?" William said suddenly, his voice a rough scrape in the stillness. Lisa turned her head. "Sir?" "You asked why I left. Not just the army. Everything." He kept looking at his hands. "I was not strong enough." Dave moved away from the window, listening. "After I left the service, the world felt empty," William continued. "Blackridge offered a job. It used my skills. It paid very well. I told myself it was still service, just a different kind." He took a slow breath. Then the shipment started. Crates marked as machine parts. But they were not machine parts. They were weapons, going to men who used them on villages, on children. Mike had put his phone down. No one moved. I complained. To my supervisor, he said I was naive. He said this was how the world worked, that we were facilitators. William's jaw tightened. The word made me sick. Facilitators. We facilitated murder. I was part of it. "So you took the evidence," Lisa said softly. "I copied the digital ledger. Every transaction, every dirty dollar." He finally looked up, his eyes haunted. "I thought I could expose them. Then I realized who they knew. Politicians, police generals. I had a file, but no voice that anyone would hear. I was just one man, and I was so tired. So I ran. I became nobody, because nobody cannot be guilty." The weight of his words filled the cold space. "You're not guilty," Mike said, his voice fierce. "They are." "I was there," William said. "I took their money. I looked away. Then I ran. That is not honor. That is failure. Captain Jenkins would not have run. So I buried him. I let him die. Jake was easier. Jake just had to find food and a dry place to sleep." Dave spoke, his voice low. "You walked into my shop. You asked for work, for lunch. That's not a failure. That's a man trying to live." William shook his head. "You do not understand." "I understand that I laughed," Dave said. The memory was sharp in his voice. "I looked at you and saw a problem. My dad, he ran that shop for 40 years. He never turned anyone away, not once. I failed him. I failed you. So maybe we're both trying to fix something." Lisa reached out slowly and put her hand over William's. His hand was cold. "You taught me that a leader's first job is to bring everyone home. You brought my whole unit home from that ravine. Now let us bring you home." William looked at her hand on his. A tremor went through his fingers. He didn't pull away. Mike checked his watch. "It's almost 5. We should get ready to move." The spell was broken, but the air had changed. The man on the crate was no longer just a mystery or a mission. He was William, a broken, tired man who had seen too much. And for the first time, he was not facing it alone. The house was a small, neat ranch home on a quiet street. Sarah Bauer's blue Ford Mustang sat in the driveway. Dave's pickup truck parked a few houses down. They all stared at the car. "That's it," William said from the back seat. His voice was tight. "That is the car." "Okay," Lisa said, turning to face everyone. "We stick to the plan. Dave and Mike, you look like mechanics because you are. I will do the talking. William, you stay low in the truck. If you are seen, this gets more complicated." William nodded, sinking down in the seat. Lisa, Dave, and Mike walked up the driveway. Lisa rang the doorbell. A woman in her 30s answered. She wore sweatpants and a t-shirt, her hair tied back. She looked tired but friendly. "Can I help you?" "Sarah Bauer?" Lisa asked with a polite smile. "Yes?" "Hi, my name is Lisa. These are my friends Dave and Mike. They own Dave's Auto Repair over on Bancroft Street." Lisa gestured back to the truck. "This is going to sound strange, but we think your car might have a serious computer issue, a fault in the engine control unit. It was a problem in some of these models. It can cause the engine to fail without warning." Sarah's eyes widened. "Oh no, really? It's been running fine." Dave stepped forward, his manner calm and professional. "Sometimes it's fine until it isn't, ma'am. We were checking records for local Mustangs with the build date that matches the bad part. Yours came up. We didn't want you to get stranded somewhere." Mike pointed to the faded red plus sign sticker on her bumper. "You work at the community health clinic, right? My aunt goes there. We just wanted to do the right thing and check it for you. It'll only take 5 minutes." Sarah hesitated, looking at their earnest faces. She glanced at her car. "Well, that's very kind of you. It's just so odd that you'd come to the house." "The shop system had your old address," Lisa said smoothly. "We tried the clinic first, but they said you'd gone home. We got worried you might drive it before we could check." The story, delivered with concern, worked. Sarah's shoulders relaxed. "Okay, sure. A free check is a free check. What do you need to do?" "Just pop the hood," Dave said. "We'll take a quick look at the computer module. If it's the wrong serial number, you're all set. If it's the bad one, we can tell you what to do next." Sarah went inside and came out with her keys. She popped the hood latch. Dave and Mike lifted the hood. William, watching from the truck, leaned forward, his hands gripping the seat in front of him. Dave leaned over the engine. Mike held a flashlight. "There's the ECU," Dave said, pointing to a small, sealed metal box near the firewall. He looked back at Sarah with a reassuring nod. "Just checking the numbers." But he and Mike were looking for something else. Signs of tampering, a seam that looked resoldered. Dave pulled a small screwdriver from his pocket. "Mind if we loosen the bracket to see the backside? The serial number sticker is sometimes hidden." "Go ahead," Sarah said, leaning against her car door. Dave's fingers worked carefully. He pried the metal box from its bracket and turned it over. There, along a seam that should have been smooth, was a slight irregularity. A tiny, almost perfect line where the case had been opened and reclosed. Mike saw it too. His eyes met Dave's. "Yep," Dave said loudly, for Sarah's benefit. "Good news. It's the newer serial number. You're all set." He snapped the ECU back into its bracket. "False alarm. Sorry to worry you." Sarah looked relieved. "Oh, thank goodness. Thank you so much for checking." "No problem at all," Lisa said. "Better safe than sorry. Have a good night." They walked back to the truck, their steps even and calm until the doors were closed. Dave started the engine and drove slowly around the corner. "That's it," Mike burst out, unable to contain himself. "That's the one. You saw the seam." "I saw it," Dave said, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. William sat up. The hope on his face was painful to see. "It is there. The proof is in that box." "So we call Sarah tomorrow," Lisa said, thinking ahead. "We tell her the truth. We offer to replace the part for free. We get the old one." Dave nodded. "We take it to Sergeant Major Briggs. He makes sure it gets to the right people." For a moment, sitting in the quiet truck, it felt like they had won. The impossible task was done. Then William looked out the back window. His whole body went stiff. "Drive. Now." A pair of headlights had turned onto the street behind them. They were not just driving, they were following. Dave turned a corner fast. The headlights followed. "They saw us at the house," William said. His voice was calm now, the calm of someone facing the inevitable. "They will not let us get to Briggs. We need walls. We need a place we know." "The shop," Dave said, already changing direction. "It's the only place." They drove in silence, the headlights a constant presence 2 cars back. Dave pulled into the alley behind Dave's auto repair. They scrambled out and through the back door just as the black SUV slid to a stop, blocking the alley. Inside, Dave flipped on the work lights. The familiar garage felt like a trap. "Lock the rolling door," Lisa said. Mike ran and threw the heavy latch. "That will not stop them for long," William said. He was looking around the shop, his eyes analyzing. "They will come through the front, or the office door." "So what do we do?" Mike asked, his voice shaking. William looked at him. "You're not soldiers. You should get into the office. Hide." Dave picked up a large wrench from his toolbox. "This is my shop. I'm not hiding." He thought of his laughter, his mistake. This was where he made it right. Mike grabbed a tire iron. "They want to hurt you. We're not letting them." Lisa picked up a long metal pry bar. She stood beside Dave. William looked at them. The confusion in his eyes was gone, replaced by a clear, sharp focus. He gave a single nod. "Then we use what we know. This is your terrain. Use it." The front glass door shattered. A man in dark clothes stepped through, kicking glass aside. Another man came through the side office door. A woman walked in through the front last. Her hair was smooth. Her clothes were neat. She looked around the garage with cold interest. This was Diana Cole. "Captain Jenkins," she said, "you have led us on a long chase." William stepped forward, putting himself between Diana and the others. The drive is not here. Let these people go. This is with me." Diana smiled a thin smile. "The drive is in a blue Mustang. We know that now. Your friends here led us right to it. We will collect it. But first we tidy up." She nodded to the two men. "Secure the captain." The men moved forward. "Now!" William yelled. Dave swung his wrench. It connected with the first man's knee with a solid crack. The man cried out and fell. Mike swung the tire iron, but the second man blocked it with his arm and grabbed Mike's shirt, shoving him hard into a tool cart. Tools clattered everywhere. Lisa stepped forward, jabbing her pry bar like a spear. It struck the second man in the chest, making him grunt and release Mike. Diana watched, unimpressed. She pulled a small, sleek pistol from her jacket. William moved. It was not the slow shuffle of Jake. It was the fluid, efficient motion of a soldier. He grabbed a heavy rubber mallet from the fallen tool cart. As Diana raised her gun, he threw it. The mallet hit her hand. The gun fired into the ceiling, a deafening bang in the closed space, and clattered to the floor. William was on the first man, the one with the hurt knee. He used a pressure point on his neck, and the man went still. The second man turned from Lisa and charged William. William dropped low and used the man's momentum to throw him over his shoulder. The man crashed onto the concrete, the air knocked out of him. Diana was clutching her hand. She looked at William, then at Dave, Mike, and Lisa standing together, armed with tools, breathing hard. "You are protecting him?" she said, genuine surprise in her voice. "A homeless man who stole from us?" "He's a man," Dave said, his voice rough. "And you're not taking him from my shop." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Someone had heard the gunshot. Diana's eyes darted to the doors. Her cleanup operation was now a loud, messy scene. Her calculation was swift. She backed toward the broken front door. "This is not over, Captain." She vanished into the night. Her two men, groaning, began to crawl after her. The sirens were right outside. Red and blue lights flashed through the broken glass. William stood in the middle of his friends, his chest heaving. He looked at the wrench in Dave's hand, the tire iron in Mike's, the pry bar in Lisa's. He looked at their determined, frightened faces. For the first time in 2 years, he was not alone. The police officers moved through the broken glass with caution. Dave stood with his hands up, the wrench still in his grip. "It's okay, officers," Lisa said, her voice steady. She put her pry bar on the ground. "We were attacked. The woman who led them is named Diana Cole. She works for a company called Blackridge. They just left." One officer looked at the two injured men still on the floor. "Ambulance is on the way. Everyone else hurt?" "No, sir," Dave said. William stood quietly, his hands at his sides. He looked at the police, then at Dave, unsure. Then, headlights flashed outside. Sergeant Major Briggs got out of his SUV and walked straight to the officers. He showed them identification. He spoke to them in a low, urgent voice. The officers' posture changed. They nodded and stepped back. Briggs walked into the shop. His eyes found William. "You're in one piece." "Thanks to them," William said, gesturing to Dave, Mike, and Lisa. Briggs turned to the small group. "You found the car?" "Yes," Lisa said. "The owner is Sarah Bauer. The part is in her driveway right now. We need to get it before Blackridge circles back." Briggs pulled out his phone. "Give me the address. I have a federal investigator friend who can meet us there. We will explain the situation to the owner. We will take the part as evidence with her permission. Properly. Legally." Within the hour, they were at Sarah Bauer's house again. This time, a serious-looking man in a suit stood with Briggs. Sarah, looking very confused, let them open her hood. With her permission, Dave carefully removed the engine control unit. Briggs's friend placed it in a sealed evidence bag. "This will go to the right people," the investigator told William. "People who are not friends with Blackridge. It will take time, but it will break them." Sarah was given a brand new replacement part, installed free of charge by Dave and Mike. She never quite understood what happened, but she was happy with her new car computer. The weeks that followed were quiet. The news carried a small article about a private military company facing federal investigations. The name Blackridge was mentioned. Diana Cole's photograph was not included. One morning, Dave opened the shop. The door had been repaired. The glass was new. Mike was already there, tuning up a Honda. "Morning, Dave." "Morning, Mike." A third person was there too. He wore clean old jeans and a fresh gray t-shirt. He was carefully organizing the socket wrenches by size on the pegboard. "Morning, William," Dave said. William turned. He did not smile, but his eyes were clear. "Good morning, Dave. The air compressor is making a sound. The bearings are worn. I can replace them today." "That'd be great," Dave said. Lisa came by at lunchtime. She brought 4 sandwiches from the deli. They ate around the workbench, talking about the weather, the price of gas, and a funny noise in Lisa's Corolla. William listened. He ate his sandwich. Sometimes he added a word or two. Dave's wife Barbara started setting an extra plate for dinner on Tuesday nights. William would come, sit quietly, and help with the dishes afterward. He did not talk about the past. He did not need to. He was not Captain Jenkins, the hero. He was not Jake, the ghost. He was William, a man who was good with engines, a man who liked his tools in order, a man who had a place to be. One afternoon, a customer's car backfired with a loud bang. William froze for a second, his hand tightening on the ratchet he was holding. Mike, who was working beside him, didn't say anything. He just waited. William took a slow breath. He looked at Mike and gave a small nod. Then he went back to loosening the bolt. Dave watched from across the shop. He picked up a spark plug. It was broken. He found a new one and fitted it into place. He thought about things that were broken and things that could be fixed. He hummed his 3 low notes. Then he tightened the new plug, feeling the good grip of the threads, and reached for his wrench.